Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Financial Freedom Classroom. We accelerate your results.
We're John and Sherry Locke, owners of Locke and Your Success, LLC. We're a stock options trading, coaching, and education company. We have managed many successful businesses in the past and actually the present through in industries such as the automotive, real estate, computer consulting, coaching, etc. We are active real estate investors. We have active rentals. We've done spec home building, rehabs, and we've provided loans and guidance to small businesses and still do.
Yes, we do. And before we get going, we just have to let you know that the presentation is for general information only. We do not know your specific needs, and we're not accountants, lawyers, or financial advisors. So please consult the proper professional before you make any decisions.
And so tonight we're working on the financial freedom case study, which I'm really excited about. It is going to be about the Spendalot family. But before we jump into their particular numbers, we're going to go over our phases to financial freedom. So, and we have 5 of those. So 1 is always watch your nets. 2 is your starters. 3 is your debt destroyers. 4 is self first, then the kids. And then put your money to work. So if we were to look specifically at the Spendalot family, and we're going to talk a little bit about what their situation is. Okay, so the Spendalot family, they're a married couple with 2 kids, 10 and 13, and they live in a coastal upscale community in Florida. There's a husband, Steve, who's 45 years old, and he's a teacher, and he's earning about $100,000 a year. And his wife, Sally, who's 44, is an administrative assistant, and she's earning about $50,000 a year. So, which is a very good income, actually. And looking at...
That is a very good income.
Yeah, looking at their numbers, though, it's not as pretty a picture. So...
Well, let's look at their numbers.
Yeah, let's take a look. So our first phase is phase 1, which is always watch your nets. So the golden rule here is spend less than you earn. And if you can look up in the net worth column, we see red.
Red is not good in the net worth column.
Red is not good. So they have a negative net worth, which is pretty difficult to,
And it's pretty surprising too, because they make a really good income. They're about $150,000 a year, right, between the 2 of them. And, generally that would be considered a very good income, well above median. And yet they're still having some problems.
Yeah, so let's see if we can figure out how to help them. So in the assets column, what they do have is they do have $2,500 in their checking and savings, which is not a whole lot, right? I mean, that's lean, very lean for a family that makes that kind of money. And unfortunately, their retirement fund is lacking also. They have about $15,000 in their IRA.
Right. They have a very nice, expensive house, though.
Yeah, in Florida, that probably would be a very nice house. So at $375, and then their automobiles aren't too pricey at $20,000. They have 2 cars, but at $20,000, that's not a whole lot of car.
That's not a whole lot of car, no. But if you see what they owe on the cars.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So then we go to the liability side. That's not so pretty over there. They have their medical. They have medical bills, they have credit card bills, they have department store credit card bills, they have, of course, their home loan, they have their automobile loan, and if you notice, they're upside down on their automobile loan, which is really not a good place to be.
It's a very common thing, though, because cars, they'll finance virtually the whole amount of the car, and they depreciate so fast.
Yeah, they do.
It makes it very challenging.
So cars are a seriously depreciating asset, which is unfortunate because we like them.
Yeah, we all like cars, right? But their value goes down very quickly. So definitely a poor investment. Not good to buy an expensive car when you owe a lot of money, when you don't have a large amount of savings and you're not doing very well.
Right. So and then of course they have some education debt also, which is significant. $75,000 is significant. So let's see how they spend. So the next part that we would look at would be their
Their spending habits.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about their spending plan. So right off the top, I see red again. Again, red's not good. So they, after tax, they net $87.50 a month, and as you can see, their total expenses are $91.85.21. So they essentially have to keep plugging in $435.21 a month.
Right, they're spending more than they make, and that's one of the first rules that we have is you always spend less than you make, and they're spending more, which obviously puts you in debt, and you start getting credit card debt, and then it just gets worse and worse after that. So.
Right. So unfortunately, I mean, and realistically, as we go through this and look here, they really don't have I mean, other than the debt, they don't have a problem in their ranges. So we have for housing here, they're right in the middle at 30%. So they really don't have too much house for them.
But
really,
30% of their monthly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. I mean, they could consider, moving down in house if they want.
But that's really reasonable if somebody's making that kind of money.
But it's not unreasonable for what they're doing here. And then their utilities are certainly within range also, between 5 to 10%. They're right at 7. And then their food, they're, again, pretty much in the middle. Their auto, they're a little over there, but what their cars are worth are...
well, the payments on the cars is what's killing them.
Correct. So if they owned them for cash...
Yeah, had they paid for them outright,
then they would not. That's almost $900 that they would be keeping for themselves per month. So that's significant. And then for their insurance and health costs, that's reasonable also. Their personal, they certainly don't splurge there either. At 5%, that's less than the average. Recreation, again, they're okay, but then we get to the debt column.
The debt. Right.
And the debt column is really, really big. So here's where the problem lies. So they've got 2 credit cards.
3 credit cards. Yeah, 2 credit cards.
Well, they have 2 credit cards and then 1 department store credit card. And then they have medical bills and they have their student loans, and it's just not good. So after looking at that, and we know where they're at, we're going to move to phase 2, which is they have to have their starters. So we're going to look at what they've done so far. So in their savings, first we're going to set up a starter emergency fund, and that's either going to be 2 weeks of pay or $1,000, whichever is greater. For them, 2 weeks of pay is $43.75.
Right, so that's a very minimum thing they have to get down. It's just,
right.
Just a little mini fund, something to get them off their credit cards.
Right, because they can't touch those again.
Credit cards have to go.
They have to go. So then what they need to save to fully fund the starter fund is $23.75. And then after that, well, actually, while they're doing that, we also want to get that retirement savings going. So they are currently, because Steve's got matching contributions, we would want to max those out. So they would match 5%. So he needs to put in 5%. So
right. Anytime your employer is willing to match, you definitely want to take advantage of that.
Right. It's free money, and who doesn't like free money?
Everybody likes free money.
So that's what we would recommend there. And then also in reviewing their coverage and so forth, Sally did not have any term life insurance. So we want to make sure that the family's covered. It's needed because there's people who are relying on her income. So if something were to happen to her, we want to make sure that the family would continue to function as it's accustomed to.
Right. So that's immediate. And if they were to lose one income on the budget they currently have and the savings they have, they would be in really bad shape.
Right. So we want to make sure that the family is prepared for that. So that's what our golden rule is, to be prepared in phase 2. So in order for them to accomplish the goals to get out of debt and so forth, one of the tips that we have for that is we're going to cut spending, so only necessities. So it's going to be difficult because they were already pretty lean to begin with, but now we really got to lean out even more because, again, remember they had to keep putting in $435.21 per month from savings, and that only would last another 4 months.
Well, I think there are like a lot of people that they obviously spent a period of their time spending much more than they earned.
Right.
Then they built up credit card debt, and then you have payments, and then at some point the payments get so high that you no longer make your budget. You don't even make enough to take the credit card bills, and you have to cut your spending back.
Right.
And that's they have to drastically cut that back to bare bones to get back on track here.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt. I'm not going to lie.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to
One of
hurt.
them lost their job or something.
It would be devastating.
You're right. So they got to
Yeah.
get back to some sort of a reasonable budget.
So what we did, and I'm going to show you in a minute how we revised their spending plan. We went from essentially the negative 435.21 to a positive 2,048.12, which is going to really help to really take care of that debt. So another tip in this, in your starter, is to sell everything you can. So if you've got stuff laying around,
Yeah, all that stuff you bought on your credit card,
if you
time to
can-
sell it.
right? If you can return it, if you bought something, you have seller's remorse and you want to return it, do it. But get rid of your stuff. I mean, it's amazing what you can find. I mean, old cell phones and that you can sell, and just the stuff up in the attic and the stuff the kids don't use anymore that you never even took out of the package.
Right.
The clothes that you still have.
Get rid of it. Pay off the interest.
So, and the third tip for this is to add extra jobs to earn more. So, what Steve actually did in this case is he was able to teach some night classes and during the summer, and he earned an extra $30,000 a year. So that's going to go a long way to help them to get back on track. So now we look at our revised spending plan after we've looked at all those things. So you can see, obviously, they still have the $87.50, but here's Steve's additional $17.50 that he's earning from working extra at night and going and also teaching during summer school. So now the net is $2,048.12. So that looks a whole lot better, and that's going to help them pay that debt off, because that's where all of that's going to go. Their emergency fund, they were able to fund that fully with selling of what they had in the house. And they actually had a surplus of that we'll see in a little bit where that went. And so we had to add in the savings that Steve was putting towards his retirement, because we were matching that 5%. And then we decided to let the kids cut the grass.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that far in debt, there's no need to have a landscaping company.
No, so you got to make sure that that's taken care of. And they reduced their data plan down for their phones, so we were able to save some money there. And then they canceled their home phone because everybody had cell phones. So
Yeah, if everybody has cell phones, it's just another $100 a month that you, for no apparent reason.
that's right. And instead of cable TV, they got a digital antenna, so they don't need to pay that. I think it was $100 they were paying a month. They don't need to pay that anymore. Let's see. And they gave up going out to eat, so they don't go out to eat, and we increased it by $100 so that to cover the meals that they had out at home. Let's see. So let me just scroll down a little bit more. Here's where we added Sally's term life insurance to make sure that the family's secure. We took out no more manis or petties for Sally.
Oh, no more of that. Yeah.
So haircuts only, and discount shopping only. We cut down on their budget for clothes as well. So you got to go to thrift stores or, see your friend and see if they have extra clothes, whatever they need to do. But it's important to get on track here. Christmas gifts, we cut them in half. So that's down, cut in half. They have to find free entertainment.
Right. There's lots of free entertainment out there. And, if you can afford it, that's great. But when you can't, you can't. So.
Well, the library is a wonderful resource. They've got free movies. They've got audio tapes. They've got books. They also have passes to movies, museums and
Right, that you can all do for
Yeah,
free, if you're just a
so-
little thrifty.
Yep, so you can do that kind of stuff. No extras. They did have club memberships. They don't anymore. And instead of taking a vacation, I know it's really hard, but so we did budget for a staycation so they can do things around, and if they don't, then they can just throw that at the debt too. But,
Right.
we gave them a little bit because you have to have something. So, and then we must corral the debt. So, and of course, the minimum payments are all there and they're still there. So, so that's what that looks like.
So going to phase 3, right?
Yep.
Phase 3. And this is what we call a debt destroyer. This is how we, the order in which we're going to attack the debts and how quickly they're going to get paid off. So generally we're starting with usually a smaller debt. We want to get some momentum going, especially if it's a high interest rate. And we're going to take all the extra money in the budget. We're going to put everything towards the lowest credit card first. And in this case here, they have quite a bit of extra money now that they've got that extra job going, and they have the budget cuts. They should be able to pay the first one off in like 2 months, and then they would take the money they were paying towards that card plus the minimum payment they were paying towards their next card and get that one paid off in somewhere around the 6-month area, and then everything goes to the next credit card, and that's paid off in another 4 months.
4 months, yeah.
So that is going to free up a lot of extra money to really start attacking this education debt, and then to get the automobiles down, because that you got to get your loan on your automobile down to at least what it's worth, right?
Right. I mean, that's, and realistically, they shouldn't have them at all. I mean, in our perfect world, that you would own them and you wouldn't have any debt on them at all. But I mean, at the same time, it's awesome to just kind of look at this whole thing. They did take the $625 that they had left over from the stuff that they sold and applied it to their debt. And that's how they're able to pay it off in less than 2 months. So
right. At this point, we're not putting anything towards savings. We're not putting anything towards investment. You're looking to get this stuff paid off. You have to get your debts paid down.
right.
That's the most important thing.
So, and the only thing that we would say that is not, as urgent, I mean, the home is okay. I'm sure that they'd want to throw extra towards the principal, because look at how much you're paying for a $285,000 debt.
Right,
You're
but I
paying
wouldn't do that
$483,600.
in the shape that they're in. I would wait till they have
No.
some other stuff.
We're
So-
paying, everything is getting paid at the minimum.
Except the house is going to be we're not going to pay extra towards the house just yet.
No.
Right.
Not until this is all paid off. All the stuff above the house is paid off.
Right.
But it's just exciting. This excites me to see how quickly this can happen. Even though it's very tight for the family, and Steve is working a lot, I just think it's really, really exciting to see how quickly they can right this the situation that they're in. So,
Indeed.
so after
So what's after that?
So after this, well, let me just one more thing. Just want to note the vehicles, and I note this quite a bit because everybody likes toys, and we all like cars. I mean, it's an exciting. We like to drive, but the cars should be less than 40% of your annual household,
Right. All your vehicles added
of your
together.
gross, right?
Should be less
So
than
that means
40%.
boats.
And I think it should be less than that, but that's what.
Well, we had a happy medium. We kind of were going for 30, and some other experts say 50, so we kind of met in the middle. But realistically, any vehicle is a depreciating asset, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
So it's not the amount of money that we put into them is crazy too. But
They're very expensive to maintain.
so the reason why the home is okay is because it's not necessarily okay, but it's acceptable because you can.
The interest rates are generally low. You have
Yeah.
you have tax benefits.
Right.
It's good to get your house paid off, but it's not. It's more important to start saving and so forth than it is to pay
Right.
your house off at
Right.
this point.
So then our next phase.
Phase 4.
Oops, sorry, I jumped ahead. Is our self first, and our golden rule here is if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. So that means that we have to make sure that our house is in order before we help somebody else. So the emergency fund here, we're going to have a fully funded one, which is going to be 6 months of your total expenses.
Right. So the initial emergency fund we had was just a very minimal one, just so that we had a little bit set aside so that we could focus on paying our bills off and not have to use the credit cards. Now that the credit cards and the other things are paid off, and the automobiles and so forth, we can go in and we can actually build a real emergency fund, which is, I mean, a minimum of 3 months, but we recommend 6 months, so that you have enough money if anything really bad happens in life.
Right.
And, you have enough money to do things for a while.
So what's exciting here, though, is with the money that they were using that was being used to pay off, we're going to add that to the money that was actually being paid for the minimums of those cards, and now we can go at a rate of $4,051.22 a month, and to put money away for this. So that is now going to be, it's only going to take about 8.5 months for $34,000.
Right, and that's somebody who was barely getting by, and now they're going to have $34,000 in the bank. And,
So isn't that awesome?
no debts.
That's just
So that's
awesome. I
So
love that.
once you get your emergency fund in place, then we can start putting some money towards retirement.
Right.
It's recommended about, 15% of your household income is a
Right.
good number to put towards retirement. And you want to take care of that. And start steadily doing that. But you don't want to start putting in retirement when you are deeply in debt and you don't have an emergency fund.
Right,
So,
exactly. So, so I mean, and through Stephen's work, he's obviously getting matching as well, so that's even over and above that. So that is a great thing. And then after that, then the kids can have college maybe.
right. And so many people, they put their kids' college ahead of their own retirement, and then they get old and they have no money.
Or they use their retirement to help
system.
the kids to
Yeah.
pay for that.
And 90% of the time, the kids just go out and do their own thing, and they don't really care,
Yeah.
which is pretty sad. But I mean, sometimes they do, but a lot of times they're struggling themselves, and they can't afford to pay you and support you. So
Right.
you need to take care of yourself. Let them deal with their expenses going to college. It's also going to make your kids go to a cheaper college, maybe community college, things like that. So that there's nothing wrong with going to community college for the first 2 years.
I
You
don't
save
think so.
thousands and tens of thousands of dollars.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of schools now are are eagerly accepting those credits. So you're paying a lot less for credits that are going to be accepted. So that's
Right. You always want to make sure that the credits are going to be accepted, and we're kind of going through that now.
right.
But they accept the credits, and if you check ahead of time and you take the right courses, they accept the credits. It's just as if you're paying $7,000 a year instead of $15,000 plus room and board to
Right.
go to someplace out of state, and realistically, you're getting the same thing. So
That's I believe so, and it's for our kids, well, for our oldest daughter, I think it's working out very, very well. It's certainly something to consider. Another thing to consider too, and this is a good life lesson for them, is to have them pay for it, and then you reimburse them when they're done. So essentially, their degree that they hand you is a bill, and then you pay them back, and that helps them to learn to watch the money, when they have to have debt and what that means. Just that feeling of accomplishment when they do finish, and then you just hand them the check and say,
right.
"Congratulations, you finished." And
Plus, we have a deal: if they don't finish, they don't get paid back.
right, so anyway,
gives them a little incentive to get out of college in 4 years and actually get to go through with it.
right. So anyway, so that's how we're handling that. And then after that, then you can have some wants again.
Yeah, all right. Then we can start
easing
having
up
some
a little
wants,
bit.
or maybe ease it back off and working.
Yeah.
Do that because now you're financially free at this point. Of course, well, no, you're not financially free. I'm sorry, but at least you're debt free.
That's right.
Let me reword
There you go.
that. At least you're debt free at this point, and that's very good.
Except
Of
for your
course,
house.
we want to start thinking about investments. Up until this point, you shouldn't even be thinking about investing in the stock market or other investments and stuff like that. Once you get to this point, now you can start taking your extra money and going into some risk investments and really start making some money.
Right. Well, first, if you need to go up in car or anything, we'd
Right.
recommend that you set up a car fund, and then you just keep piling money in there until you have enough so that you can move up in car. And then same thing with your trips. If you want to go on a trip, it's okay to set up a trip fund. But again, there is no debt. So you do not use that credit card and ever let that balance roll over the next month.
Right.
Because it just becomes
That's how we got there in the first place.
That's right. So we're always going to make sure, sorry about that. We're always going to make sure that we're paying cash, and any toys or anything also has to be paid with cash. So direct deposit works great for this, so that you can just say, okay, I want, I don't know, $10,000 to go on a trip. So if we want, actually to make this easier for me, we're going to make it $12,000. So, and then you're going to direct deposit $1,000 a month for a whole year, and then you're going to have
Right.
you're going to have the fund ready to go the following year or whenever you want to go. But
Right.
at least it's done.
Right. We have accounts. We have separate accounts for all this stuff. We have accounts for
Yes, we
cars.
do.
We have accounts for trips. We have accounts for, other toys and things like that.
And
So-
John was complaining about it. And then he said, hey, it's not that bad because the same amount goes every month. So it's not that bad to reconcile. So it's not a bad thing, is it, John? Did you decide now it's not?
I don't like having to reconcile 42 accounts, but if the same amount goes in every month, it's not that bad.
There you go. So it's not that bad. So that's that. And then, of course, John, we kind of went to our put your money to work phase, our phase 5, which is the golden rule is to diversify. So you don't want to put, when you have the money and you start socking it away, you don't obviously want to put it all in one bucket.
Yeah, we like to diversify a little bit, have some real estate. It's always good to have. And rental houses are good if you are the type of person who can deal with rental houses.
It takes somebody who is, I guess, I don't know how to explain it. You have to have a tough skin.
You have to be able
And
to let things go.
yep. So then it's a possibility if that's something, but there's a lot of, for me, it's my favorite. So real estate is my favorite. It's, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can see it. If in what I do is I have my own standards of what I want to buy. And if I would live there, I'll buy it. If I wouldn't live there, I'm not going to buy it. So, I mean, essentially I'm kind of looking for somebody who wants to live there, who is going to stay, who's going to, right?
Yeah. You want good people
Right.
and so forth.
So clean place, newer place. It's got to be after 1978.
Yeah.
So-
no wood paint.
No lid paint. So
So anyway, that is what we had, and this is the budget plan we put together, and so they can get themselves out of debt. It's a lot of work, but it's really, really easy to get yourself into that situation if you're not careful. Even making $150,000 a year.
it's amazing that can happen and making that wage. Now we have an unanswered question, and for some reason
We're having trouble with
we do not know what happened to our.
So we'll look for
We
that.
do have. We're trying to find that out. So if you just hold, bear with us for just a minute. We're trying to figure out where our little box went. Where'd our little question box go?
This actually happened to me once before.
It disappeared.
See, the chat one disappeared now,
Oh gosh.
and I don't know where it goes.
Where does it go?
Questions.
Oh, there it is. Oh, good. There we
Fantastic.
go. All right.
All right. No, so very good. All right. So that was just that question we actually answered earlier. So I think
Right.
we're good as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's unless anybody has any other questions. We really appreciate everybody attending. I was really excited about this topic, but let's go back because John's going to talk next month about his super simple spread. So if I can get there. Oh, so we had questions. If anybody has any questions, we certainly will entertain them. If you want to join us for, again, if you want to sign up for the free monthly webinar, visit our blog. I post again every weekday, so there's information always coming out on that. Any questions, you can send them, and share this with other folks who could benefit. And then next month,
Right, I'm just going to be talking about the Super Simple Spreads program, and we'll just go over a few things about that for those who are looking to get into a little bit of investing.
yeah,
So that should be exciting.
it is. And that right now, as I understand it, that is the best-selling program that SMB released of
Okay.
John's, and he is the number one
That is,
options trader at SMB.
yeah, I don't like to
So,
say that.
I know.
But yeah.
That's why I'm saying it.
All right, very good. But that program is SMB's number one selling program ever.
Yep.
So
So that's pretty exciting, and it's getting rave reviews. So don't miss next week. So other than that, thanks everybody, and have a great evening.
right, we'll see you next month.
Take care.